financial advisor today. I will be able to buy bologna in my retirement year, so it'll be okay.
But just hang tight. We'll be on CAN6BXX. And please stay awake. We want to hear from you, don't you?
Real quick, hello, Derek from Reno, W6QIZ, Mobile on VHF, direct. Vaca.
Nice. Hello there, QIZ. Long time no speak.
So,
Roger that.
when we speak, you want us to, now that I got my cool transmit button, am I supposed to hold this, mute my computer, and then, I'm not going to look at YouTube tonight. I got too much. I only have, unlike Jason, I only have 2 screens. He has like 4.
We're live right now, everyone, so
okay.
Mind your pints and quarts. What's happening, everyone? Welcome.
Stick around, dog.
Let me put my face up here. We're about ready to get started. My internet is terrible right now. Somebody call Comcast.
N6CMB. Donkey, we're going to call on you nice and early so that you can get back to the important task of prepping for the new day.
Hey, Ben, brother. Okay. I thought I was on the wrong repeater there for a second.
Here we go. Today is July 22nd. This is N6CMB, Chris and Clayton. I am sorry to report that even an anti-net needs a designated driver to keep the rubber side down, and tonight that's me. Welcome one, welcome all to the 2 Meter Crew Anti-Net, streaming live on Ham Radio TV. I'd like to... Oh, wait a minute now, I better... Jason's running fancy camera stuff on there. Threw me off for a second.
Sorry, man.
I'd like to thank the owners and supporters of the W6 VVR repeater and the Vaca Valley Radio Club. They make it happen by letting us use this repeater to conduct our anti-net once a week on Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Before we completely take over the airwaves here, I want to check to see if there's any priority traffic at this time. If at any time there's priority traffic, please let us know by contacting Anti-Net Control. There's priority traffic, please let us know by contacting Anti-Net Control, and we'll clear the frequency for your messages. The 2 Meter Crew Anti-Net meets every Wednesday at 7 p.m. This is an open net. Everybody's welcome. Please feel free to join in. We make it easy. We're on the air on the W6 VVR repeater, 145.470, negative offset of 600 kilohertz, and a PL of 127.3. We're on EchoLink, WG5EEK, an AllStar node, 51094, and a DMR talk group, 314-9964. For all I know, somebody's bouncing us off the moon tonight. And of course, we're always being streamed live on Ham Radio TV, featuring KN6FAK. Jason, are you out there tonight?
I am. How's it going, everyone? Jason here, KM6FAK. Yes, we are live. I lowered my bits, and it looks like we're holding up pretty decently. We're going to be kicking the show off. Tonight we're talking about mobile radios. As some of you might have seen different posts or what have you, I recently bought a Jeep, and I want to know what I should put in there. I mean, I kind of have an idea what I'd like to do, but I'd like to hear from everyone. And, everyone's got opinions, just like other stuff. Also, I think Kevin's got a little tidbit to share as well. So we'll put Kevin up front. Chris, what do you think? KM6FAK.
Yeah, sounds good. I got a spot where we can fit Kevin in before we get into check-ins and talking about mobile rigs. I'm going to kick off tonight with my normal This Day in History. A couple of key events over the years. 1862, Lincoln tells his cabinet about the Emancipation Proclamation. On July 22nd, 1862, President Abraham Lincoln informed his chief advisors and cabinet that he will issue a proclamation to free the slaves. 1934, outside Chicago's Biograph Theater, notorious criminal John Dillinger, America's public enemy #1, was killed in a hail of bullets fired by federal agents. In a fire-robbing career that lasted just over a year, Dillinger and his associates robbed 11 banks for more than $300,000, broke jail, and narrowly escaped capture multiple times. They killed 7 police officers and 3 federal agents. In 1933, Wiley Post flew solo around the world. American aviator Wiley Post returns to Floyd Bennett Field in New York, having flown solo around the world in 7 days, 18 hours, and 49 minutes. He was the first aviator to accomplish this task. And in 1991, in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, police officers spot Tracy Edwards running down the street in handcuffs, and upon investigation, they find one of the ugliest, grisliest scenes in modern history, Jeffrey Dahmer's apartment. Cannibal and serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer was caught. All right, the 2 Meter Crew is not an actual club. We're just some hams that are learning and enjoying all things ham-related. There's no dues or fees to be a 2 Meter Crew member. For more information, go and check out 2MC on Facebook. Speaking of which, rumor is the donkey is in the house. Derek, K6DJV, how are we doing over there on Facebook?
Hello, everybody out there in Radio Land and on the interwebs. This is K6DJV, and yes, the Facebook group is growing. We actually stuck past 200 members. We're up to 204, and on the YouTube channel, we are growing even faster. We're up to 366 subscribers. I want to say thank you to all the people who have lost brain cells by watching those videos.
Derek, I think they're getting better all the time. Some of your recent editing work has been absolutely epic, so you definitely got to check them out, guys. See what Derek's up to. You got anything planned in the near future? Getting out there a little mountain topping?
Let's see. Well, I got to give a special shout out to KM6TAU. He went up to Leviathan Peak this past weekend. I was able to make contact with him from Mount Diablo, but I could not hear him on his HT and his tape measure Yagi. So I'm trying to get him motivated to take a trip down to Keller Peak down in Southern Cal. So we're working on that one.
Sounds great. Now, I saw a photograph of someone up on top of Mount Diablo photographing the comet recently. They extended the hours that the peak is open for comet viewing, or how late can you stay up? Do you know up at the top of Mount Diablo? Do you know, Derek?
I know you can still camp down in the lower parking lot and then hike up to the summit and then I guess look at it from there. So yeah, you can stay there all night.
All right, good info. Anybody else out there got any planned events? Little 2 Meter Crew action, some Simplex, I don't know, Pacificon, or anybody have something good they want to tell us that's coming up, or even something small, just a meeting of their radio club? All right, N6CMB for ID. Sounds like we've got a quiet week coming up, so we're going to have to dream up some radio activities to do, or we'll all be very bored. I'll put a teaser out there that a lot of guys over on the 3.3 repeater seem to be doing some HF work at night, so if anybody wants to get out and get their HF rig up and running and make some contacts, spend some time over on the 3.3, and you can try to dig out the secret frequencies from that group of characters over there.
Good evening, Can6BXX.
Michael, go ahead.
Promoting stuff in Simplex. Yeah, as you know, I'm a member of the North Hills Radio Club, the Sacramento area, K6IS repeater. Just a heads up, next Monday is our monthly Simplex test on our North Hills Radio Club Monday Night TechNet. It's 8 p.m., starts off, and usually about a half hour or so after you do check-ins and yays or nays on who's going to do it, we Simplex over to 146.52 to see who could listen to who. QSY back to our repeater and do a play-by-play analysis, see who we usually hear. Usually by the Q signals from Q1 to Q5, but usually it's hosted by our good friend Greg, KK6WSP. And again, this next Monday night, July 27th at 8 p.m. on our TechNet. There we go, and a shameless plug for our Simplex does. I know Green Dog, if he wakes up, maybe if he's on the hill, he could chime in. Anyway, thanks again, guys. KN6BXX.
Thank you, Michael. I've participated in that event before, and it's a great opportunity to stretch the legs on your Simplex rig and see how far you're getting out there to some stations that you probably wouldn't normally hit. So, and also great feedback on signal reports from each of them, so you can get an idea what your footprint is like. All right, if there are no more planned events, I'm going to go on to what I like to call tonight, help a brother out. Anybody needing help raising an antenna, tuning a radio, hooking up an amplifier, burying a body in the backyard, anything that you might need some help with, all the rest of your hands out here are willing to help. Throw out your question or your need now, and we'll get with you at the end of the net and hook you up with some folks who can help out.
Look infected to you.
What's that?
I think that was somebody with a rash they needed looked at.
All right, let's move on then. Before we get to our big topic for tonight in our check-ins, we're going to take a quick check-in with VLF and learn about this. I know there's been a lot of buzz about this Nana Banana Frequency Analyzer 7002 unit that everybody seems to be grabbing. I'm dying to know what this thing's capable of, and he's going to give us a little teaser on this thing.
Hey, is it my turn? Wait a minute. A little better. Can you hear me now?
Sound good to me. Go ahead, Kevin.
Okay, we're going to take a few minutes here and just talk about the Nano VNA.
Hold on a minute.
Bring that up. So there's the Nano VNA. You guys have probably seen these on the internet, and they're very cost effective. I think this one here, let me grab my handy dandy pointer right here. I think I got about $79 in this one. These two devices here on this here, these are adapters. I put these on here so I could do a real quickie demonstration for you guys. So really what we're seeing right here is I plugged in a really reasonably flat load. So as you can see, maybe you can see it right there. It says log mag, which is return loss. And you can use your guitar pick that is included in the package. Let me show you something else included in the package. My overhead camera set up for the to see the Nano VNA, but they give you three little test devices: an open, a short, and a 50 ohm. And they also give you two SMA jumpers that you can use with it. They're approximately a foot long, and they included in the package is the super duper guitar pick. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to unkey, and right now we're in. I won't unkey. You touch it right here, and I'm going to go. I have it in log mag, which is return loss, but what's more common is SWR. And you look here and you'll see the SWR. It's really hard to see. SWR 1.0 to 1.01. So that's really flat. And as you can see, you can use a little thumb wheel on top here. The little thumb wheel is right here. You can see it, and you move it. You can rock it back and forth. So I can move my cursor, and the frequency will change. So I'll just bring it down to 20 meters, right about 14. So there are about 20 meters. Is telling us that it's a 1.01 because I used a really good dummy load that I haven't burned up yet. So let me change it. Look at that, it has a built-in Smith chart too. And as you can see, because the dummy load is so clean and so flat, it's right on the center. It's right at 50 ohms, you know, and there's no weird phase shift or anything like that. So we're not going to talk about the Smith chart tonight, but there it is, right in the center, right where it should be. Okay, another one here is resistance. So you're kind of interested in what your load might be. So resistance, there it is, 50 ohms, okay? And you can see that wherever that line is nice and straight. So wherever I move that line, it'll be 50 ohms. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen. And this thing, you notice I have the little mini USB cable and it's plugged into my handy-dandy computer off to the side. And what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to click the host disable participant screen sharing. That would be Jason. And I did not hear you.
Okay, yeah, you should be able to share your screen now.
Can you see the screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, so we're going to look over here. Here's the magic pointer. And right here I have this one set. This is also in return loss, or they call it log mag. And you'll look here and you'll see the computer has grabbed it from the device and it is displayed it on the screen. Now, here's the thing about this. The Nano VNA is sweeping all the time. So as I change things on the Nano VNA over here, it updates automatically. Over here on the screen, I have to go over here and I have to hit the sweep, and it's going to take just a little bit. It's going to update, and it's going to give me the readings, and I'll be able to look at the different charts and see the result of the sweep. And in this particular case, I have the sweep preset on the Nano VNA. I set it for 1 megahertz to 30 megahertz. And as you can see right here, there's 1 megahertz, there's 30, and all the different screens reflect that. So here is what the software says my return loss is, or my mag log. So we're looking at the cursor here real quick, and you can see it's really flat because it's a dummy load. But let's look over here, and it says the SWR is 1.017, and the return loss is 41.5. Well, let's go over here. Go back, and I'm going to go to log mag, and I'm going to read this one. And on the screen here, it says 41.4, it's scanning. So it's around 41.4, and the frequency is 14.050. And if you look up here, the frequency is 8 megahertz. So we got to move this up and look at 14.050, or get it really close to it. That's pretty close. Now it's 41.3. We look over here, and oh look, 41.3. Let me let the repeater take a quick break. N6 VLF for anybody who cares. So at the same time, you kind of notice that over here on the Nano VNA, you got a little 3 or 4 inch screen that shows one thing at a time. I have to use my guitar pick to come in here, and right now I'm showing log mag. Well, what if I want to see what the SWR is? So there it is, SWR. SWR at 14.050, I'm not going to change the frequency. My SWR on my perfect load is 1.01. Well, gee, let's look over here and let's see what it says. Follow the bouncing cursor. 1.017. This goes out one more digit. So what we're able to do is the Nano VNA can be looking at one thing, and your software can be looking at another, but oh wait, the software looks at it all at the same time. So here is your SWR right there. There is your Smith chart, which is right smack in the center. And let's not forget our resistance. And it's telling us at that frequency, we can go up and look at marker number 1, and we can go to parallel R. Oh, it's 50.864. That's pretty darn close to 50 ohms. And look at the impedance. It's 50.9. And we already looked at our return loss. So there, ladies and gentlemen, is what a reasonably perfect dummy load right off the shelf, so you can just get an idea of what this thing can do. Let me let the repeater drop. You could go into the Nano VNA and you can change, pick the different things you want to look at, Smith chart, SWR, log mag, and others. And you can also go back and you can go to display, and you can format your display, which is where we were at, and you can literally turn off the menu on the side, but that does not disable the menu on the computer, because the computer is, for all practical purposes, is completely independent. So now what I wanted to do is I want to come over here and let's see what a format. Let me go back. It's a little bit, stimulus. So in this Nano VNA, let it drop. The Nano VNA, they call it stimulus. And the stimulus, I'm not going to change it, but the start frequency is what it is up here, 1 megahertz. Take a look right here on the screen. The stop frequency is 30 megahertz, and its segments are 10 segments, and that means that there's 28.74 kilohertz per step. Now, this guy over here is sweeping all the time, and I'm going to show you that in a minute. And we're in SWR mode, and over here, it's not. So now what I'm going to do real quick, I'm going to change this perfect load over to a not so perfect load. It's just going to be a resistor on a pair of clip leads. Real quick, what this is, that's two 100 ohm resistors to simulate a okay 50 ohm load, but I've got all these adapters and these wires, and no hate mail please. I know that this is going to affect our reading, especially as we go up in frequency, but that's okay, because we're doing it on purpose, because we want to see what the Nano VNA says, and we want to see what the computer says after we download the information. Let me switch it over.
N6CMB, while Kevin makes his adjustments there, just remind everyone who's hanging out on the air and also on our digital links, we will have an interactive on-the-air session here shortly after this presentation. So hang in there, guys. We are going to talk mobile radios, and we do want to get you involved.
So now you can see that the not so perfect, now we can see the line here, okay? But look over here. On the computer, it didn't change because I have to sweep it. I'm going to let the thing sweep. It's going to think, and it's going to redraw it for us, and I hope you guys and gals can see that. And it's going to tell you what's going on that goofy load that we made up. So here we go. That load sitting there at the moment, you can see there's the return loss. It changed, but let's look at something that's a little more familiar. And what I want to do over here is, that's on auto. Perfect. So now I can look at my SWR, and I can slide it around, and I can look at the different frequency. And you can look up here and see your frequency right there. And then you can look right next to it and see what your SWR is. So with that test on there, as I go lower in frequency, you'll notice the SWR gets better and better, and as it goes up in frequency, we're going to take it way up here to 30 megacycles, and it's about 1.8. So there we go. So let's come down here to a lower frequency, and we're going to get something that's, reasonable. 80-meter band. Yeah, right about there. It's really good. It's our little funky load is really good. Let's do a real quick check here. And you'll notice that on this screen here, it's dynamic. The other screen we have to tell it to load down. I'm going to switch it real quick. Okay, now, can you let me know if you can see this, Jason or Chris? See where right here it's 4.03 to 1. Can you see that?
Yes, I can see it. You're coming through clearly. KM6FAK.
It's double, but I heard that Jason say it's clearly. Okay, so notice that this was dynamic. It continued to reload and sweep. It told me my SWR is 4.03. Let's look over here on the screen. It did not do that. So we're gonna hit the sweep, and it's gonna do it again, and it's gonna come back, and it's gonna tell us what our SWR, our return loss, our resistance. It's gonna give us everything on the screen. By the way, this screen, you can adjust it. I will not go into that tonight. You can have between 1 and up to 6 different screens on there and have different displays of your choice. So here we go. There it is. There's the SWR. And look at that, 4.03. It's telling us that right in the 80-meter band. And we go, well, gee, what's the equivalent resistance of that? Oh, it's 201. Well, guess what? That's a 200 ohm resistor. So the thing is pretty cool. I think what we're going to do is but I showed you guys how we did the common mode. We were testing our chokes and things. I'm going to plug one real simple balun in, and then we'll be done, because we can spend a lot of time on this, and anybody who wants to play with this and get with us on Zoom or in person or whatever, we'll make arrangements to do that, because these little guys, for between $59 and $79 in this free software, it's really hard to beat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch one more thing, then we're going to quit.
Hey, Kevin, hopefully you're listening while you're tinkering there. I'm going to see to load your, or maybe I'm doubling with you. Hold on. Okay, I was just going to ask, is this kind of unit? I mean, could I get one of these and not spend $350 on like a Rig Master analyzer?
The answer is sort of. I was going to go into that last. It's not super durable. I'm thinking of it as you need to be careful with it. These connectors right here, these little SMA connectors are mounted in this plastic. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get some really nice Teflon RG58, and I'm going to get some decent connectors. I'm going to make me some, they call them HT savers, equipment savers, and I'm going to bring them out to a set of BNC or something, because I don't know if you guys can see it. Here, let me slide it over. These adapters right here, all from here to here. When I did the calibration, which we won't go into tonight, but they give you everything you need to do calibration. I calibrated it with these adapters. So my load went here, my short, my open, all went here. When I did my isolation between the two ports, I left them open. Then I did my through. I did it with these on to emulate as best I could, a calibrated setup. With all that said, it is not as tough as your good old MFJ. It does a lot more. And if you got it in your home workshop, your home lab, and you're testing antennas, and you're in a controlled environment, it's pretty cool. Let me hook up this one. I want to show you guys what this is. This is here, I'll switch cameras. This is a balun. We showed it a couple weeks ago. It's an MFJ balun, and there's a 47 ohm resistor. I got it about as close as I can, so it doesn't get it gives us some reasonably accurate readings. So I'm gonna hook it up.
And for people out there in radio RF land, this is live on YouTube, and it's recorded, so you could come watch it later on Ham Radio TV. It's KM6FAK. Take it away, Kevin.
Thank you, Jason. Okay, so now you guys can, hopefully, guys and gals can see right here, I'm still at 14 megacycles, right close to the 20 meter band, and my cursor is telling me I got a SWR of 1.19 at that frequency. And you can see as it goes up in frequency, it changes just a little bit. And if I were to do something goofy, like slide that resistor way up, this would change. I think I'll do that just so you can see it. All right, AC it changed as it went up in frequency. It gets worse. Now look over here on the computer. You'll see nothing changed. I have to redo my sweep, and it takes a moment to redo the sweep, and now it's going to reflect what we've measured on the Nano VNA, and you'll see the SWR curve. It sweeps up as it goes up in frequency, and we're going to ask ourselves, what does that really tell us? Well, first of all, we're looking at this frequency here. We're at 80 meters, we're at 1.1, but as we go up in frequency, you'll notice that balun, we're up to 1.7, which is not that great. But what I want to bring to your attention is how you set things up matter. I'm going to put that resistor back as close as I can. Okay, put it back. Let's sweep it again and see what it does. Because it's given us a real world, what that thing's going to do. But if you're watching the screen right now, you'll see that we minimized that lead inductance on that 50 ohm resistor, and everything is starting to fall into play. Because the reality of it is, if we had our dipole antenna up there and it was
a product for a cheap price, and it definitely seems like something a lot of hams might want to pick up and experiment with. So before I go to roll call and our main topic for the evening, anybody have any questions for Kevin about the Nano VNA?
Actually, I have a question. This is Mike, WG5EEK.
Go ahead.
We'll make something up.
Hopefully it's not too made up. I'm noticing on your screen it has a TDR, time domain reflectometer. Have you tested the accuracy of that to see if it's, what it shows is actually how long a cable is? Because those are it's really cool to use to figure out where a break in a wire is.
It is surprisingly accurate. This little thing has been working just great. So the answer is yes, it's pretty accurate. And something else I tested too, I forgot to mention, I kept increasing. You guys didn't see them. I did this off camera before we started, but I grabbed a bunch of resistors right here, and I had we went up to 200 ohms, which is a 4-to-1 SWR, and I went up to 1,000 ohms, and then I went up to 1800 and 2400. The thing measured it, and it plotted it. The screen on the little Nano VNA was like kind of wonked out because it just doesn't have the range. I mean, you can go in there with your little pick and find your way around, but over on the screen, it was great. It showed, hey, it was the 1800 ohm resistor, and it. So the answer to your question, yes. It's quite accurate, especially for the money. It's really hard to beat up on these things. I don't know if they're going to last 2 weeks or 10 years, but it's worth it. Like, for example, be careful. See, I have my Nano VNA on all these goofy little adapters, so I'm being very gentle with it. So that's what I was talking about earlier. Take your we'll call them a Nano VNA saver. Make some cables so that the thing doesn't get too much stress on it.
Thanks, Kevin. Any other quick questions for Kevin on the Nano VNA?
Yeah, this is Nick, KN6BAL. Let me turn off my... There we go. Yeah, I just wanted to say you had mentioned maybe putting together a Zoom meeting or some kind of get-together where other people could maybe learn a little bit more about that. Could you mention how everyone could get a hold of you if that was the case?
Or I guess we'll organize it through the 2 Meter Crew and Ham Radio TV, and we'll just let everybody know, and anybody who wants to, we'll get together. I mean, just tonight, I know I have one, you have one, and it looks like Justin has one, and I think by Friday, Chris will have one. So there's 4, and I'm not sure, Mike, we can see you. Did you already get one of these? Is that a yes or a no?
It's definitely on my bucket list to get one. They look super cool. WG5EEK.
I'm pretty sure Dale has one because we were there when he got the door prize, and I'm pretty sure that some other people, a guy named Bruce, and a few others have them. So I think we can easily get up to 10 people. And I think what will be great is we could take and individuals can hook them up to their own antenna, you know. And by the way, we didn't talk about it, but the software allows you to take snapshots of what you've measured and save them for future reference. And just for no hate mail, please, they do give you some cables in here, some little cables that the SMA connector on one end, and it has a little barrel connector on the other end, which is great. And the reason I said I was going to make my own, I'm going to do some low-loss cable from an SMA connector to, I'm going to try to get my hands on, I'll probably use either an N or a B, probably an N connector. That way I can get it to the larger stuff without having so many adapters, because if you guys were watching, look what it took me to get. Look at that. That's like 1, 2, 3. It took me 4 adapters. So I'm looking at making some that's just SMA to PL259, SMA to end. So I'll wind up having probably, if I ever get around to doing it, I'll probably have a set, because you'll need 2 of them, because we haven't talked about the S21 measurements where we have an input and an output to measure fill. By the way, that'll be a great thing for some of you guys. You'll be able to look at your cavities for your duplexers for like your GMRS and your homebrew repeaters. Anyways, that's enough unless somebody wants to ask a question. N6VLF.
Comment.
Go ahead, comment.
Hey, this is Ted, KJ6NON up in Meadow Vista. I found a Nano VNA-F on Amazon a few weeks ago, and it just arrived today, and it is about $20 more. It's, I think, just $96 or $98, something like that. And it actually has a metal case, and at least seems to be a little bit more rugged and a little bit more bandwidth, I think, than the $80 unit. So I just wanted to mention it does seem like this area of little VNAs is improving, and there are some now coming out with metal chassis that might be a little bit more have a little bit better longevity. KJ6NON.
J6NON, thanks for the comment. Appreciate that. Good info.
Known Ted for a long time. Thanks for that, Ted. You know, coming on. My case is plastic, and it has a battery. You know, but I can't. But my pet elephant cannot step on it because it's not metal. I didn't even know they had a metal case. That's cool.
Okay, folks, I'm going to go ahead and move on to tonight's interactive topic. We will get time, I'm sure, to talk to Kevin later, both maybe on the air and definitely in the Zoom. So let's go ahead and move on. So tonight we are going mobile. Jason needs to pick a radio for his new Jeep, aka the Pickle. Jason, I don't know if we have a picture of the Pickle we can put up on screen. It'll be quite clear if you see it why that is. I think my lighting just went out at my house, so I'm going to see what's going on with that. Computer probably went to sleep. I'll fix that in a second. Let's see. So Jason's new Jeep, the Pickle, he got it so that he can jump some big curbs while he's dropping the kiddos off at soccer practice, and, you know, to maneuver through the hard-packed dirt roads from the glamp ground he will be at, maybe to go to the movie theater with the family. And, of course, he needs to have the best VHF, UHF mobile solution for his Jeep rig, and that's what we're going to help him with tonight. Let's reserve the mobile HF rigs for another night. They're definitely cool, but tonight we want to hear about your favorite mobile VHF, UHF rig and why you like it. So we're going to go ahead and start with check-ins. Please try to come one at a time. Tell us who you are in your call and tell us about your favorite mobile rig.
W1FRD.
W1FRD, N6CMB, go ahead.
The one I'm talking to you on is the Kenwood 742A multi-bander. It'll hold 3 different modules. It's like having 3 different radios. I only got 2 of the modules in there. But it's been a great radio for me. It has a removable faceplate that splits in half, controls on one side, and put the display on the other side if you like.
What was that model number one more time?
Kenwood 742A.
Fred, is that model currently in production? I apologize if that's a silly question, but I'm not up to speed on everything out there.
No, this model's not currently in production, and to buy one is fairly expensive on the used market. They go for over $1,000.
All right. And is there anything in particular you like about that unit that you think it's worth seeking out?
Yeah, what was nice about it is they made modules for either 6 meters or 1.2 gig in addition to 220, 440, and 2 meters.
Very nice. Thanks, Fred. Well, there's option number 1 going down an old-school Kenwood route and a proven radio. Who else out there has got a mobile rig they'd like to recommend for the Pickle?
KM6YKX, Rob in Auburn.
Hey, Rob, thanks for hanging in there, brother. I thought we might lose you through that first section. You're a mobile guy. Gosh, you got about 26 trucks, 2 cars, 14 motorcycles, and you're always on the move. What do you like to install in your rigs?
Well, 26, 3, and 4. Just saying. Yeah. I mean, I would say my criteria, and you know, Jason's a big boy. He can decide himself. But you know, the Rubicon Trail has a special radio network, and a lot of places have radio networks where I go dirt biking out in the desert. Has a lot of repeaters available, and they're a mix of 2 meters and 440 mostly. And so I would say, although I love my 80-watt, you know, Yaesu 2980, I would say that you need to have that dual band capability because that also gives you crossband. And so if you have crossband, then the kids go wandering off. They can talk back to the truck or whatever, and so that's pretty cool too. So I love my IC 2730. I know there's others out there that will do similar things. So I think the crossband, in addition to the dual band, is an important characteristic. KM6YKX. Also like the Nano VNA. Gonna check out the software because I have one of those, and yeah, it's clunky to use it on there. So thank you for that. KM6YKX.
Hey, Rob, so when you're out doing your motorcycle thing, do you generally, you know, have like an HT with you that you would use off the bike? Or have you done any setups where you're actually talking while you're riding?
Yes. No, I have a setup where I can talk where I ride. typically it works bike to bike, okay? It's okay, so, all right, let me let it drop. I'll gather my thoughts real quick and I'll tell you about that. All right, so, yeah, I do that. And so I bring a radio with me, a dual band Baofeng. I've destroyed one with an Aubrey antenna because it unscrewed itself. I've thrown my roll-up J-pole up in trees. That's worked extremely well at 140 miles or something like that. Let's see, bike to bike, most of the guys I ride with are not licensed, so we can't use the repeaters, so the FRS frequencies, or there's some other frequencies that are, business band, those work okay, usually. So rubber ducky mostly, but if I need to set something up, I can throw out a roll-up J-pole. They work really great. They're easy to deploy, blah, blah, blah. What is that, N6TAX? Or you could make one yourself. That's pretty cool stuff. That's off the dirt bike. Off the truck, I have, been mobile and brought my 746 Pro and brought a beam and done sideband with the little beam just stuck in the stake bed of the truck, and that's been pretty fun too. And horizontal and vertical 2-meter sideband, and also some HF. I know we're not talking about that, but since that 746 Pro would do that, magnetic vertical 20, 40, 80-meter antennas, and they actually worked pretty good too. Barefoot, 100 watts. And, okay, last thing about the mobile, like if we're talking about cars, see, I did write some stuff down. My experience has been that 5/8 wave monoband antennas work best. And if you have like a NMO mount or whatever kind of mount, and you could switch out antennas, that's cool. Larson, dual bands. Larson's pretty good, probably the best. That works great. A lot of the monoband 2-meter antennas, when you buy them, they're cut long, so maybe you want to get a nano VNA and cut them down to tune them. The ground plane matters. My F-250 and F-350 have great ground planes. I have a little Ford Ranger with aluminum hood and stuff like that. Yeah, it's noticeable difference. Also, run your radio straight to the battery. Don't mess with anything else, and don't try to ground it. That causes problems. We've talked about that before, and that's it. KM6YKX, Robin Average.
Hey Rob, thanks for taking the time to put together some thoughtful information. That's great stuff. I'm hoping maybe some folks, as we get talking, can talk a little bit about ground planes on a Jeep, because last I checked, that roof is not made of metal. So I'll be interested to hear a little bit about what guys are doing for ground plane on the Jeep, maybe through the comments. So who's next? Who wants to help out Jason in the pickle?
Kilo Foxtrot 6, Hotel, Dan.
Hey, Triple H, Dan, how are you tonight? Glad to have you here. Let's hear what you got.
I'm doing pretty good. Let me give you a little quick history. I was licensed in '96, got an HT. Short time later, picked up a mobile, which was pretty much the equivalent of my HT. It was a Kenwood TM733, dual band, 2-meter 440, dual receive, tons of memories, tons of stuff. It's still fairly modern by today's standards. Again, I got that in '96. It lasted until a couple of months ago, so that's 24 years. Used partially as a mobile, mostly as a base. The replacement for that, which is an upgrade, is the TM V like in Victor 71A. And that is a great radio. I am really happy with it, and it's got a really good rating. It's supposed to be heavy duty, and I say the last one lasted 24 years. It still works, but it's got problems. Quick break for repeater. KF6 ID. The TMV71, I'm using it as a replacement base, so I don't have it in the mobile, but I would have no fear putting it in. For my mobile, just because I didn't want to spend a lot of money, I got a 2-meter only. It was a Yaesu FT-991A. That's the front-facing speaker. I actually got it just stuffed between the seat and the console. There's enough room for airflow, and it's got a fan. So if you're looking for a cheap rig that's rated as heavy-duty, that Yaesu is it. And Kenwood has one that's basically the exact same thing. The only reason I didn't go with the Kenwood is it wasn't on sale. So, but that's what I'm using. KO6 AAA.
Thank you, Dan. So there. One of the things that gets me thinking about, I'll throw out there that I like about my mobile rig, I use an ICOM 5100. I love the face that I'm able to mount that wherever I want inside of my truck. Put it in a place where it's really easily accessible and highly visible. It's a great dual bander. I can do my D-Star on it as well, so really enjoy the radio. But one of the things you mentioned was I like to have remote speakers. So I have 2 remote speakers in the truck that are much better quality than what's built into the radio. And of course the radio itself is under a seat, so that, you know, if I was to use the built-in speakers, it would just be terrible sound quality. So I do like mounting those remote speakers for the 2 bands. All right, who's next? Who's got some mobile advice for the Super Pickle? ZTH. Well, go ahead, ZTH.
Yeah, so I've got the ICOM 5100 as well, and I went with it because I have the ICOM 7100, which is what I was running in my truck. I know we said no HF, but I went with it because familiarity of the ICOM layouts, the menus, and all that stuff, and I quite enjoyed that. But I also picked up a Yaesu 2980, and that just wasn't going to work in my truck, so it became a shack radio. So realistically for me, I think I would be looking at the FTM 400. I like the dual band capabilities and everything I have in the ICOM. I like the crossband, but I think that larger color display could do me well. Sometimes that two-tone display of the 5100 can be hard to read when the light hits it the wrong way. KM6 ZTH.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you there on that 5100 screen. It's really big. The touch screen works pretty well on it, and when you have it aimed right and the light is okay on it, it's fantastic. But sometimes you get the wrong kind of sun direction on it, or it's not aimed right at you. It can be a little difficult in those harsh conditions. And I do have to agree. It feels like that Yaesu color screen might have a leg up in that area. Is anybody running that 400 that could tell us a little bit about it? Well, I guess we got a couple of shy hams out there tonight. How about Nick up there in Washington? I know Nick, you're on the move and work out of your rig. What are you running in your mobile?
Hey, how's it going, Chris? Nick up here in Everett, KN6DAL. Do I have it? I'll see if I'm making it in. I've been having some problems tonight.
Yeah, you sound good, Nick. You've got it.
Yeah, mobile. My current mobile setup is a FT-8800R, which is old. They don't manufacture it anymore. It's been replaced with the 8900, which I believe Jason owns. You know, if I had to pick a mobile rig right now, though, I would probably look at. I don't know that I necessarily go for it. That the 400 is really cool. There's also some other less popular options that I might consider, and one of them would honestly probably be the Anytone 578 UV Pro. It's got a lot of the features that are capable. I'm probably going to get dogged on because it is a Chinese radio, but that's okay. It's pretty feature packed. It's got a lot of different things. It's DMR capable. It's got crossband repeat. All of the little functions that everybody's talked about, that radio's got in it. So that would be a pretty top contender for me. Just a consideration. But yep, I'm still all analog mobile. I would like to get something set up where I can do some digital modes. But yeah, that's what I'm running. So I'll leave it at that. KN6DAL.
Thanks, Nick. Yeah, I think that radio you're running and its successor that Jason has in his hot rod Prius, that's a pretty nice radio as well. Who else we got out there who can share a little bit about their mobile rig? Maybe you just take your HT with you in the car, or and hook up a mag mount to it, or just run it with a rubber ducky in the car. Who's got any kind of mobile rig out there?
KC7 Alpha Delta Delta.
ADD, go ahead.
This is Doug, and I have a mobile rig, and I don't want to brag on it. And the reason I don't want to brag on it, I bought it 2 years ago, and I still haven't figured it out. I mean, I've got it set up, and I use it as a base. But what I have used for the last 15 to 18 years, maybe 20, or at least 20 years, has been a good HT with a mag mount 5/8 wave antenna stuck on the roof of my metal roof on my Jeep. And that has worked very well, except in a few times when there was an exception where I didn't have enough power down in Death Valley, as I recall. And so I take with me a Mirage B34G. It's basically a 2-meter power amplifier, and I can get out really well with that. So when I wanted to talk to the motorhome when I was up some canyon, I used that with my HT. And I think it's because of the convenience. And usually what I'll do with the HT, I've got a slightly long antenna on it, and I'll just use that. But then I'll hook up the external antenna if I'm out in the desert somewhere or doing Jeep work up in the hills. And it's just been so much easier. And the big reason, and think about this, is the learning curve for a new radio. I know that HT and how to change frequencies and that sort of thing. It's not even a Bofang. I mean, I could hook up my Bofang and it works great, but it's an old Yaesu 530 because I know how and it is easy and I know how to program it. So that's my 2 cents worth, although I am going to be starting to shop for a new mobile for my motorhome.
I think you raise a really good point there. Whatever rig you've got in your truck or your Jeep or your car or your RV, knowing that radio is always a plus. You know, being able to, especially when you're mobile. You know, when you're sitting here at home, you know, with your 2-meter rig, you know, you kind of know which repeaters are in range, and you know, you've got a few other frequencies programmed in you might use, and you're pretty static. But if you're mobile, you might be running with a different Jeep crew that uses a different frequency. Let me take a break while my dog barks.
KJ6DLF, I was going to jump in there and talk about the 450 a little bit. I've got one of those I put in a fat 50 ammo can, so it's kind of mobile by itself, but I can put that in the Jeep using some RAM mounts, mount that where I need it, and strap that sucker down so it doesn't get damaged. I need to put some holes, some watertight holes in the lid so I can close it up, because the wife likes to drive the Jeep underneath the river instead of just over it. But I've got that, and then permanently mounted in the vehicle is a FTM-10R, which they're not in production anymore, but I like that, leaving it in the Jeep, because that's a nice, tiny, dual-band radio. It's a little difficult to program, but the thing works great.
So the 450 is HF, right? That first radio you gave, I believe, was a 450, you said?
No, 400, FTM 400.
Oh, very good. Thank you.
Well, I want to keep going around and seeing everybody who has some mobile rigs to talk about. I know there's a lot of folks that will run multiple VHF, UHF rigs, especially some overlander guys who, want to have maybe a repeater on one and, another one for maybe the group frequency as they're moving through an area. So definitely interested if anybody's got any experience with that kind of a setup. Come on forward with a little more mobile talk.
WG5, sorry about that, WG5EK.
Mike, go ahead.
Go ahead, Mike.
I want to make sure I got out there. So I don't have, two different radios, but if we're just going with a really inexpensive, don't care if it gets stolen radio, that's a tri-band. I like my Baofeng Tech. Yes, it's Baofeng Tech, but it's still tweaked in America, so it kind of helps a little bit. It's a 2 meter, 70 centimeter, and it's got 220. It's the UV, UV 25 by 4, so 25x4. I think I got it on sale for like $110. And unlike some of the other 2 meter radios out there, this one actually does 2 meters at about 15 watts on high and 7 watts on low. A lot of the other ones, they might kind of skimp out on that 220 and go to like maybe 5 or 10 watts, but this one, does pretty good. I've gotten some good repeaters on it. And then, like I said, it's a 25, which means 25 watts on 2 meter, but then down to 15, 20 on 70 centimeter. But it's been a good solid radio for me. It's small, but it has a good speaker in it, and it sounds pretty decent. I've got some good audio reports on it. I haven't had any real issues for it. But if you go to their website there, Jason, I know you're looking on YouTube. If you go direct, Baofeng Tech, it's $128 right now, and sometimes they have like a 10% off. So I was able to get it a little cheaper than on Amazon. But I like it. It's you can program it with chirp, or you can use the front, but it's a little bit more difficult that way. But I like it. It's a nice small little rig, fits in my center console quite nicely, and doesn't take too much battery power if you want to take it and run it. If you want to take it in a backpack or something, you can get a little battery and it'll last for a long time.
How does it do for intermod or rejection? If maybe you're up on a hill, a mountain, and there's some other RF antennas around you.
On Winterfield Day, it didn't do terrible. There was a little bit because we were basically sitting right in front of all these repeaters. But you get more than, I would say, 100 feet away from some big repeaters. I haven't had any issues with it. I've taken up to Mount Baca a couple times to do some tests, and I haven't had any issues with it.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm surprised we haven't had a few more comments about power. That's certainly an item you want to consider when you're selecting your rig, your mobile rig. Is how much power do you need? Is 25 enough? Do you need 50? Do you need 100 watts in a mobile rig? I think you probably get a lot of varying opinions. You need to think about where you're going to be. Are you trying to blast out of Death Valley, or are you just rolling around town?
Comment.
Go ahead, comment.
Yeah, I've noticed some difference, but not a ton. For me, as I've switched from a 35-watt radio to a 50-watt radio to an 80-watt radio, as I've played around, moved them around from car to car, and it seemed to me, just my anecdotal evidence, was that it seemed like the ground plane was more important, and you got that big ground plane that seemed to do better.
Yeah, well, and I know we've heard from you, Rob, from, location, quite a few mountaintops just with your HT over some pretty incredible distance, just in the last year that I've been listening to you broadcast. So, a little bit of power in the right spot also pays. All right, who's next with some mobile rig comments? Maybe what's important to you when you select a mobile rig, or, you know, any antenna comments? I thought Rob made a good one earlier talking about, you know, if you have an NMO mount, you know, you're able to swap antennas if you want to try different antennas up there quite easily and not mess with the wiring in your truck or the hookup on your rig. I like that option on my truck. I've done that. What other kind of recommendations are good out there for picking a mobile rig? We got to get this pickle set up right.
KI6UNF.
KI6UNF, Sal in Pittsburgh, N6CMB for ID. Go ahead, Sal.
I don't know how much Jason cares too much about a shack in a box, but you know, I imagine he's going to be taking this Jeep to the top of the world in a few different places, and I don't think he'd want to be limited, so I would vote for the shack in the box, like a 7100 or something like that. It's got 100 watts on HF. I think they do 50 on 2 meters, and on, I forget what they do on 70 centimeters, but you have all your options there. It's got D-Star, if you ever wanted to use it. And, you know, he doesn't have to go with the screwdriver type of thing for HF because they're expensive, but they have mobile whips for like $15 or $20 or something like that per band. You just swap them out, you know. So, I don't know. I mean, I know he camps too, so, and I've heard him camping and on HF at the same time. So, you know, and the other thing about the 7100 is it can be modified to do other things, FRS, 11 meters, you know, depending who he's riding with. Maybe you might want to talk on different frequencies as well, who knows, but it's kind of an all-around radio. It does a lot. It's kind of on the pricey side. I think they're around $750, but that's what I run, and it's been serving me well.
Well, yeah, you might be opening up Pandora's box a little bit, including an HF radio out there, Sal, but it's a good radio to mention. You know, I think it's an underrated radio that a lot of folks don't give a lot of credit to. The price sounds high, but it truly is a shack in a box for about $750. I think you can get it at MTR in Texas right now for $750, and of course no tax. So that's a pretty good deal.
One more comment.
Yes.
When I was talking to Jason the other day, he was talking about an 11-meter radio, just so he could talk to his non-ham friends. So there's that Cobra 40. What's your pleasure, Jason?
How about a good president? They still got those around? No, you know, that's a great point. You know, kind of getting back with a couple buddies I haven't seen in a while. That's all they got. So my intentions is to bring them over to the, would it be the dark or the light here at Ham Radio, KM6FAK. So why don't they make a 2-meter dual band 70 centimeter radio with 11 meters? I mean, I've seen those tiny little Cobra Uniden handhelds. I feel like we're almost missing that for that type overland adventure people. But no, Sal, that's a great point with that radio. It would be fun to have 11 meters along there with you. Yeah, these are all great stuff, guys. Keep it coming.
W6PMR.
Go ahead.
You would never get the feds to type accept an 11-meter radio and another type of. I'm searching for the word. Anyway, you would never get the feds to okay the importation or to type accept a CB set along with any transmitting device that's an amateur radio or commercial. That's not to say you can't modify a commercial or amateur radio to go on CB, but you could never get one to do that. And speaking of that, as a ham for a very long time, I still have a CB set in my truck because I go on long trips and I do monitor. And I have the President McKinley, and it has sideband AM, and it scans, which is really good, and it scans fast. So I can talk and monitor on HF or 2 meters or 440, and I can scan on CB. And I have to say, and I'm freely open to admit it, that I talk to a lot of people on CB when I'm traveling, and there's a lot of times when there's nobody listening on 5.2 or anything else, but
channel 17 or channel 19 is crackling. So anyway, I really like my President McKinley, and the nice thing about it is it doesn't have any chrome on the front panel, and it doesn't look like a CB set. Some of these 6PMR.
I have to say, I've been shopping around a little bit, considering what kind of 11-meter rig I might put into my truck, just to have it, like you say, when you're traveling. It's a bit more maybe just from entertainment, or like you say, that potential connection when you're not reaching hams. So, and the same goes for some of these GMRS radios that are out there. There's some pretty nice, really small rigs that also could be used, and I would think for the off-road guys, they're probably using those as well when you get in with clubs and things like that. Open to any comments on mobile rigs. Feel free to come forward. I think we got a double there. Let's try one more time. The KJ6, it's a little bit broken up. Go ahead and come forward and let's see if it sounds okay.
Very good. Yeah, I'm up here in Meadow Vista, KJ6NON, Ted. On the subject of antennas for HF, well, let me see if I've got it.
Got it, and you sound good.
Alrighty. One of the things some of my Elmers let me know is the 5/8 mag mount, the standard kind of Larson 5/8 mag mount for 2 meters. That's actually a quarter wave on 6 meters. So if you put in a duplexer, you can actually have an HF rig use that exact same antenna on 6, and you don't have to have so many bristling antennas on top of your vehicle. You can have an HF rig on 6 and a rig on 2 meters on the same antenna. So I've actually done that, and it works very, very well.
Great tip. What kind of HF or what kind of mobile rig are you running right now?
For 2 meters, I have a Midland LMR that one of my Elmers gave me. It's a pretty cool radio. If you know how to program it, it's just takes some special software. So kind of a business band, no-name thing. And on the HF side, it's Kenwood, what is it, TS480, I think.
Very cool. Sounds like you're well set up there. Who else out there has got some mobile tips, comments, helping hand info on the best radio or the best antenna for the pickle?
Quick comment.
I think I was doubling with someone there. Looking forward for more mobile comments.
Comment.
Go ahead.
It's Rob again. KM6 YKX, Rob in Auburn, and I would just say it's not like, badass HF like, some kind of screwdriver antenna or something like that, but I've had pretty good success with a Hustler setup, and I got it off Craigslist, so that was pretty cool. And it's like a golf club, a whole bunch of antennas that all screw onto one mag mount, and everything from 2 meters. I don't have 440 because the radio doesn't do that, but it does like 10, 11. My radio is not modded to do 11, but 2 meter, 10, 11, 17, maybe something else in there, 20, 40, 80, and there might even be a 160 in there, and that's crazy. And I don't think I ever got out on 160, but I could hear, and definitely out on 80 and 40 and 20 and 10 and not 17, but anyway, and 2 meters, that's the daily antenna on that truck. That's pretty cool.
That's way cool. And Rob, I need you to try to hang out long enough tonight for the ending trivia question. You might have to help me out with it a little bit. You'll see what I'm talking about if you're here at the end. And we're probably not that far off. We've been going for a while on the air. Let's see. Who else did I not get to? We heard a lot from Kevin earlier, but he might want to tell us. I know he loves his Don Johnson mobile antenna, but maybe he's got some other mobile hints he can pass on. Kevin, you want to pipe up on this one?
Sure, I like mobile radios. I have a Kenwood. It's the, I think it's a TM700. It's the predecessor to the 710. It's my 2-meter 440. And I have a Kenwood TS480, 6 meters, all the way through 160, but I never use 160 mobile. The best I ever got was 80. And then I have a dedicated commercial radio, 50 watts, is 2 meters only. And that's on a 5H wave antenna, which, by the way, to the other gentleman's point, it works quite well on the big giant ground plane. When I talked to the Green Donkey the other day, and he said I was really strong. And by the way, he was too, very strong. And I have a UHF radio that's set up for all the GMRS and things of that nature. But I did want to comment real quick on antennas, on mobile antennas. Several years ago, I was working on some golf carts, some Polarises, and things that had a metal frame but a non-conductive roof. And they had Motorola commercial radios. They were UHF radios, and they got their little license to operate on them. And they have nothing but trouble because they were they said they couldn't get any distance. And these guys would drive their vehicles. They also had vehicles, pickup trucks as well. I had like 6 of these things. And we got to thinking, well, geez, I grabbed my ham radio test gear and looked at the antenna and went, holy cow, the match is horrible on these non-conductive roofs. So I decided to go with the half-wave mobile antenna. And sometimes they're called no ground plane, which is not really a good way to say it, but they're half-wavelength end-fed mobile antennas on an NMO mount. I used them on the VHF. And the performance increase was incredible. So if I had a green pickle with wheels, I would consider putting a half-wavelength no ground plane type for my 2-meter and one for my 440. And running it into, I know that most radios only have one output. Well, then you just take your duplexer and you turn it around backwards. You hook the 2 antennas to the port and one to the radio, and now you have a dual band system with those, because you won't have to depend on your metal roof for your ground plane because it's a half wavelength antenna. So it worked really well. And by the way, I have some UHF half wavelengths. I'd like to get my hands on a VHF because it'd sure be fun to do a shootout, you know, put one, you know, maybe do a temporary clamp or something, that non-destructive test to see how it worked on.
One, two. We lost you there, Kevin.
Who was that? Was that Ted?
Now we lost you there for a second.
Lost me there for a second? Oh, I don't know what happened. Maybe my radio blew up.
Back to where you said shootout between the different antennas there, Kevin. WG5EEK.
Okay. Well, I said that I have a UHF half-wave no ground plane antenna for ham radio. I got a couple brand new ones, and if we get our hands on a VHF, it'd be nice to get a couple vehicles and do some non-destructive testing. You know, we don't want to mess the vehicle up, but figure out a way to put it on there and do some field strength tests with the different antennas to see which one behaves. Like for example, a 5H wave antenna versus the half wave, because the 5H wave will behave way different without the ground plane versus the half wave.
N6CMB for ID. Jason, have you given much thought to the fact that the pickle's got a plastic roof?
KM6FAK. Yeah, it sure does. I mean, the roof comes off. It does have a metal rack up on top. So, you know, I'll probably leave that. I haven't really thought much about the antenna yet. I figure I just need to one thing at a time. But here I'm showing a picture on YouTube of the Jeep. I don't have a lot of room, and things get dirty, things get wet. So all these items I'm taking in consideration, and I believe I'm going to mount it right up here on the dash, there's a nice blank spot just calling for a radio. Maybe I can even do a fun stack. But man, I love the idea of the FTM 400 because of the dual band, dual watch, cross band, APRS, does have the fusion. That looks like a fantastic radio, but it is $550. Looks like it's slightly on sale. But here recently, I was doing some reading on this Yaesu FT-991A. Yaesu 7250. I believe this is what replaced the 8900. Of course, there was the 8700, the 8800, the 8900. They're all gone. I mean, you can buy them, but they're not new. They're not sitting, let's say, at DX Engineering. I'm just happen to be using this website. But anyways, this guy here is a 50-watt dual band. It does have the fusion, the C4 FM. It's a small footprint, and it has, I think it said, a 5-watt forward-facing speaker. So that would sit exactly there, because something like the FTM 400, I would have to think about where. Let me reset the repeater. Where to put the speaker and make sure the body is safe. So this one, and the price is $219. So the price is very attractive. The only downside I see right away is I can't listen to 2 different frequencies, and I feel like that's pretty important because, if you're out there wheeling or driving around, it's great to have your favorite repeater up, maybe have a Simplex on the other side, or have your 2 favorite repeaters, whatever it might be. So I don't know. I can't decide yet, but those are the 2 that I'm thinking about. I just wanted to share that. And you know what? I think we'll have to do antennas in a few weeks. And I'll have a bunch of photos ready for that. Maybe people can send us photos. That'd be fun if we could see people's antennas installations on their stuff. KM6FAK.
Well, we definitely want to drill some holes in your rig somewhere, Jason. So we'll be looking out for an ability to do that. Oh, wait a minute. All right, just want to make sure I wasn't on top of someone there. How about KD6KWV? Are you with us tonight on DMR, KD6KWV?
I don't know who he is, but I have a quick comment on the half-wave antennas for mobile.
Absolutely, let's hear it.
There's somebody out there without a PO. There's somebody out there without a PO. He's coming in, he or she is coming in on the tail of other people. But
I think it's the other repeater.
Turn your PL on. I installed antennas on an awful lot of vehicles. I worked at a two-way radio shop for a long time. And several companies marketed no ground plane antennas, and they were all half-wave. And I would mount those on Corvettes and Jeeps, CJs with the plastic composite roof. The half-wave works without a metal top. And there are several companies that make the half-wave for the mobile just for that reason. W6PMR. That person.
Yeah, a little bit of that tonight. Not sure if that person's getting anything on the output or just doesn't understand the input-output of the repeater, but hopefully they can figure it out and join us. I did see Brian with an eye join in on YouTube. Brian, are you on the airwaves as well?
Could that be the other repeater?
Yeah, it's possible. I'm not sure what we're hearing exactly, but a little bit of interference here or there, but hopefully everybody's getting a good signal and able to hear us tonight. All right, I'll go around one more call for mobile comments, advice, questions, or anyone who just want to make fun of the green color of the pickle.
And 6 SMH.
Go ahead.
I've got the FTM 100D. That's my base station. I have for my mobile, I have the 2900, which is a good radio for that. But the FTM 100D, I chose this because like Jason said, the 400 is just, you know, it's a lot to chew off. It's about half the price of an HF rig, so it's a little pricey for my taste, even though the dual receive is there and the crossband, I think, is there. But I went with the FTM100D. Now, I will say, Jason was looking at the, I think it was a 7250. I might opt for that one for my next radio. I find the FTM100D, even though it's got a good feature set for a reasonable price, I'm not using all those features. I honestly think the better radio would probably be the 7250 because it's quite a bit cheaper, and really it does the dual band and the C4 FM, and it's got enough power, and it's nice and compact, and I think it would be a good radio to go with.
Sounds like a solid recommendation there. Yeah, you know, I'm surprised that we didn't get more mentions, or at least one for the, maybe we did, the Yaesu 2980, the infamous George Foreman grill. I think, you know, for the price, it's just such a solid radio, a lot of power, and just the essential features that you need in a dual banner. Really great radio that I've enjoyed using for a while. It sort of sits on the side now in the shack for alternative use, but it was great when I had it as a mobile rig.
Comment.
Go ahead.
I still have it. I'm sitting here looking at it. It's totally badass. It's a badass radio, and I think for a first radio, it's awesome. But, like, you know, we were kind of talking about the Green Pickle. What he needs is a dual bander and something that will do crossband, because that's pretty epic. I mean, a beginner thing, the 2980 is, yeah, I would never get rid of that. 80 watts, it's badass. But yeah, like, you know, if you're gonna do it, you need to go. If you're gonna go off-roading and stuff, you need, you know, to hit all those repeaters and stuff for safety, you need dual band and crossband.
Well, no doubt, Jason's, you know, kind of a famous YouTube star, so whatever he picks has got to be pretty flashy if he's going to keep up with the rest of the YouTube gang.
You know what I will say, though? I was looking for a radio that didn't have a fan. And I know we like to call this a George Foreman because the fan is just going to suck in all those elements, dirt, get the moisture, all that jazz. So, but it looks like almost all the radios now are coming with a fan.
Yeah, I would definitely say if you were going to have, you know, an open Jeep and dirt and dust and all that, the George Foreman would be a good candidate for being able to put up with those elements. It looks tough, and it is pretty much sealed up. So yeah, on that front, it probably would be really good. And what did we pay for those things? Like $129 or something? $150?
Something like that. I think I paid $119.
A lot of radio for that much money. All right, we're going to probably be moving towards the Zoom, I would think, fairly soon. We had a fairly long run on the airwaves tonight, but I do want to give a little more time if anybody wants to come forward with a little more mobile talk.
Hey, this is Mike WG5EK. I was just going to say, if you want something without a fan, you can just get an older, like, Kenwood or, you know, Motorola mobile radio, commercial radio, and mostly would be a single band, but you know, those things have huge heat sinks on them. You get them for dirt cheap on eBay. I've seen them go for like a set of 5 for like $100. You know, those things are going to last and last and last. You don't need to worry about a fan. So just something to think about. A little older, but definitely solid radios.
Yeah, and I want to remind everybody that's kind of out there that Jason did a video a while back now where he talked about his criteria for selecting a mobile radio, and I've watched that. I didn't end up picking the same radio that Jason did, but I thought his criteria he laid out was pretty solid for picking a radio for your use, and I might remind Jason to go back, watch his own video, and think about it when he's making a pickle selection.
It has to be green in color to match the truck. I saw that video.
that'd be pretty slick if it was, you know, like a green screen on there, you know, the ability to set that. And I know a few CB radios that can do that, Jason, so we can hook you up on that front.
Exactly. I want to get on CB and tell everybody why they need their ham radio license and tell them how awesome it is.
Feel the power of the dark side.
All right, well, we're going to start thinking about moving over to Zoom, I believe. Jason, are you getting close to being ready to open up Zoom for conversation? And maybe I'll turn it over to you. I've got our closing trivia question for the night still, and a couple of closing comments. But from your side, what do you want to close out with? Are we getting to that point?
Yeah, sounds great, Chris. Thank you so much for putting this together. You always do a fantastic job. And what I'm going to do next, if you're in RF land only, is get over there onto YouTube. We're going to keep it going. And I'm going to drop a link so you can join us in a Zoom call. You don't have to put your video on, and you don't even have to join us in Zoom if you don't want, because it all just stays right there on YouTube, and we do watch the chat. So, hey, great having everyone out here on another Wednesday, and we'll see you next week right here on the RF. This is KM6FAK.
And remember, guys, the more we get onto Zoom, the more they charge Jason. We want to ring up his credit card this month for as much as possible and set a new billing record for Zoom.
I got a radio to buy.
Run the bill up. As many people as we can join. You don't have to turn on your video, but it'd be great to have you in there listening and talking just like we do on the radio. All right, tonight's mobile-inspired music trivia question. It is a music tonight. Name the song and the artist. I'm going to start with the lyrics. I may take a little pause in hopes that my friend Rob might help me out with a bit of the lyrics before we open it up for people to chime in. Name of the song and the artist. So the lyrics go a little something like this. On a long and lonesome highway east of Omaha, you can listen to the engine moaning out this one-note song. You can think about the women or the girl you knew the night before.
My favorite song. Sounds familiar, but I'm into my beers. But it sounds great.
But your thoughts will soon be wandering, the way they always do, when you're riding 16 hours and there's nothing much to do, and you don't feel much like riding, you just wish the trip was through. And that's when you get your ham radio out and talk to your friends, or you get on 11 meters and talk to your good buddies. Name the song and name the singer. I know it's an easy one. Someone's got it.
Metallica, turn the page.
Bob Seger turned the page, right? Bob Seger original, WG5EK, or did he redo it? I don't know.
Oh, wow, that was a good one. Yeah, so Metallica was the one who redid the song, and I think they did an outstanding version, but it's that Bob Seger song, and it's Turn the Page. Great tunes. All right, I'm going to turn the repeater back to normal operation. I've got a 14-digit code I have to enter, and it'll turn the repeater back into to normal operation. So everyone, take care out there. 88s, all the best. N6, CMB, Chris and Clayton, looking forward to talking to you in Zoom and hearing you out there in the air in the future.
All right, how's everyone going tonight in Zoom? You know, one thing that I didn't really talk about or mention is the new FTM-300. The only problem is it's so new, is it's very expensive. It's you know, $470, and it almost does everything the 400 does.
Does it do APRS?
I
think it does.
Yeah, I think it does do APRS. Let me look at this.
Yeah, and don't be fooled about the 5100's DPRS. You have to be at a D-star repeater to put DPRS in.
Oh.
Oh, hey, Michael Lane, you're here. I was going to ask you about your mobile rig.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Good night. Michael from Carmichael, you with us?
Yeah, I'm right here. How you doing there, guys?
How come you didn't chime in about your mobile rig you built out?
My radiosity?
Yeah.
People complain about my audio. These guys, I just figured to leave it alone.
You know, I'm still convinced that there's a setting in your radio that's off and not a radio problem. One of these days, you got to take some time and we got to tinker with that thing.
What kind of radio is it, Michael?
Radiosity DB25 dual band, 25 watt.
Okay, yeah, I've got for a long time, and Carlos did this for a long time too. He had a B-Tech 2-meter 440 rig. It was a little 25 watt. He carried it in and out of his car every night, and I think he blew it up. I'll let you tell him let him tell you that story, but it's pretty funny. But yeah, I have one of those that I carry, and then I force my wife to let me put a mag mount on her car every time we go somewhere. So.
Well, that's one of the reasons I got that, because you could use a cigarette plug, 25 watt max.
Yeah.
I could use from my Nissan to my RAV4, so I thought just do that. And now
it's very similar to the one that Mike was talking about, other than the tri-band capability, other than being able to get on 220.
Yeah,
same basic setup.
Well, I do notice when I go on menu, it seems like there's a slight offset. It seems like it's like I have to readjust the offset a little bit. I don't know if that has something to do with that or not. And my radio's in the car. I'm not going to get it right now, but it seems like I have to go to menu and offset. I have to again go reset the offset to 0. Oh, that's why maybe I sound kind of bad, because there's a
we should just get out there, Michael, one day and just, when we got a little bit of quiet time, and just go back and forth and try to get that thing. Because I think it doesn't, either something really is wrong with that radio and you might consider it sending it back, because it's not just because it's a cheap Chinese radio. There's something up. It's either a setting or there's actually something not right.
Might be setting, because when I call on my own repeater locally, K6IS, I don't hear
everything's fine
at all. So
yeah,
that's a big deal.
Let's tinker with it one of these days,
Well, I think because if you guys live with the Sacramento area, like Carmichael area, Madison Avenue kind of has a little bit of dips east from I-80 out to my neighborhood. I get a bit of shadow into the repeater in Diablo, whereas with my repeater in Folsom, no problem.
Hey, Justin.
Hey, Justin.
There is a gentleman here, Brian, and I think I saw someone else earlier in the chat. People want to buy the patch. Where have we figured that out? How to put that somewhere people can PayPal?
We have not, and we should probably revisit that. We can figure out a way to do that.
Because just so everyone knows, Justin is the man, and he did a limited production run, and we'll have to revisit that. And now he's leaving.
No, he's going to come back with this giant pile of patches. You're going to be really amazed.
Okay, I don't know how many he has. When we started this 6 months ago, he kind of surprised us all with them. It was very nice. But that would be fun if people had an ability.
Or maybe he left.
Yeah, he's digging. Although I did want to say, I'll take this moment. So I brought another Hat in the Shack. My kids got me because for those I've been paying attention ever. But since I bought this Jeep, and it's a new to me Jeep, but I've been rocking and rolling and fixing all sorts of stuff. Here, I'll show a video if you're watching YouTube. I'm all over the place. So my kids got me this hat. Who knows what this hat's from? All right. So this is my new nickname around the house. And I think you're going to have to be a younger... What's that?
I said Freedom Factory.
Freedom Factory. No. It is a bit of a movie or a cartoon or maybe a video game related.
Fix It Felix.
Fix It Felix from Wreck-It Ralph.
There it is. Yep. Yep. So, but it's Fix It Fiore.
There you go. I do like the Freedom Factory though with Cletus McFarland. That's a good channel.
Love that.
That may have to become your custom call right there.
Yeah.
Well, now that you're going 11 meters, I think you've got your call sign for out there in 11 meters. So.
Yep. Oh, that 11-meter President radio that Paul was talking about, that's a cool little radio, and it has a brother or a cousin, I don't know which. Same thing, but it's a export radio that has higher power, more features, and it looks just as good. And it has all the you flip it to band A or something, and it magically does all the 11-meter stuff, and they work great. I couldn't bring myself to buy one last summer. I wish I had, but they're nice radios. If you're gonna have 11-meter radio, that thing is it looks like a ham radio, but it's not.
Yeah,
it's 11 meters and it works great. Clean your room, Ryan.
Hey, Justin, what is that giant beer that you're drinking there? I don't care what it is. It's just the right size. It's almost as big as your beard.
My local brewery here in Benicia, Brewhole, they're a nano brewery, so they keep getting shut down as they close bars. They finally got a canning machine. This is 32 ounces of glory. I was like the second person to get one today. This is amazing.
I was out riding with some friends this past weekend, and everything, of course, is closing down again. So we found a few places to stop for a cold beverage, and these bars are pretty creative. One we went into, they said, well, you guys can stay, but you have to order food. And we said, well, is there a menu? And they pointed to the wall behind them, and there was bags of potato chips stapled to the wall. And as long as you bought a bag of potato chips, you could stay and drink at the establishment.
That's good.
Well, I don't know if anybody knows, has visited the Fuddruckers in Fairfield. They literally took 3 of the giant windows out of the patio dining area. So it's now
to make it open.
Yeah, but it's great because it's if you feel like, because Fairfield's windy, and you go over there by Mel's Diner and Fuddruckers and Chevy's has okay, but Fuddruckers it cuts the wind off. It's one of the few places, it's a little secret, one of the few places you can go get a burger and sit there, and they're very nice to you, and it's pleasant, next to not getting able to eat at the 47 tables 3 feet away from you. But other than that, it's great.
Hey, Kevin, thanks for that impromptu presentation tonight. Those Nano Banana 2000 BMAs are pretty hot right now, and I'm interested in buying one. And yeah, you're right. I'll probably have one by like tomorrow.
Yeah, Friday. So, yeah, it's good
to know what it's all about.
I bought the bare bones, no case, no frills. All it has is all of the calibration equipment. It was $54.99 on Amazon.
Yep. They're such a great value. Here's the thing, guys. It's not a communications monitor. It's not a pro. I mean, you get a VNA, a real one that's like from Tektronix or something. I mean, those things are like, the USB based ones are between $5,000 and $10,000. And then you go buy a Siglent, it's 9 kilohertz to 2.1 gig. I mean, those are reasonable, but they're $1,400. And then some of the features that this thing has built in it, they charge an extra $300 for. So unless you have a use for that stuff, this is cool. You just got to be really careful with I should turn off my my backdrop, but you just got to be really careful, with this stuff, because this is just you got to be gentle. You got to be gentle with it. And then I left out a bunch of stuff on the because I just felt like I was taking up too much time. But like the sweep, it does have an auto sweep feature on the software. It's just slow, and the more higher resolution I left it on 10 on purpose. Because, man, if you put it like on 100, it's like you gotta sing the song "Staying Alive, Staying Alive." You gotta wait and wait, and hopefully you're alive when the thing's done sweeping. But what you do is you narrow. You know where you're gonna. We'll talk about this too. Not tonight, but I don't know if you guys remember. I made this goofy little test jig, and I used it on the other one to check the balance and stuff. This thing does that, and it also, if you are a little patient with it, you can tune your cavity, your duplexers for your GMRS repeaters and stuff. You just got to be patient because you got to narrow the bandwidth down to where you're within a reasonable bandwidth, because you need to be on GMRS. You got to be 5 megahertz apart, and you want to look at your peaks and your dips or your cut or your notches. You want to get a really nice clean notch, so you just narrow it. It just takes a little longer narrowing on the notch. I mean, man, let's see. Nick's was $59,
Yeah,
and that's
now,
just.
is there a GM version, a Gorilla Mitts, one that actually big hands could manipulate that tiny little
Ted
screen?
talked about there's other ones out there. The screens are a little bit bigger and the cases are made out of metal. I have not personally had one of those. Thing about it is, Chris, is if you're bringing it on your bench and you build up your little, everybody, good grief, even Ryan, he's got a little lab bench in his bedroom there. Everybody's got something. So if you put this thing on your bench and make some test leads that are reasonably flexible, like these, maybe a little longer, and just take the time to set the stuff up, just get this thing and you can use your computer, because that way the screen's bigger, and it just, there's somebody, Ted's holding his
Ted's
up.
holding one up. What do you got there, Ted?
Ted's got the newer version.
Yeah, that's the Nano VNA F.
That's the 4.3 inch screen one.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, bigger screen. And
How
it's
long
metal.
have those been out?
I don't know. I've been searching for the last month or two, and I saw it about 2 weeks ago and ordered it.
Yeah, mine's
so
like
it's just under $100.
Yeah, I would have got that if I had known about I got mine last I think November, December. Thing is,
Right.
is notice the hey Ted, did you make a by the way, Ted's an awesome dude. Look at the cable he has coming off of that. That
Yep.
is, what is that? That's the Teflon 365, I think.
Yeah, it's a 1 meter long cable or so.
Yeah.
And it
Did
goes
you make-
straight to a PL.
Did
no,
you
I
make
didn't
that?
make this. I bought this on Amazon for a couple of bucks.
Yeah. But what
relatively inexpensive.
What you guys can do is you get that stuff, and it saves your unit. You can get 2 of them, and then when you run your calibration, you can calibrate it with those on it, and it will give you a very, very good reading. And people
Yep.
were asking how to do filters, and that's how you do it. You buy 2 of those, calibrate
Yep.
it with those cables, and now you can do your filters.
Yeah.
You guys, if you find good sources for those cables, and think of it to share on Discord or something, it'd be great. I bought some of those cables from Amazon, and they were really low quality QA. Like the crimp connections fell apart real quick. I could put them back together, of course, but they were not great.
Most of these VNAs, Chris, come with a couple of extensions, kind of like what Kevin was holding in his hand there. They're just, like a 6 or 8 inch extension with two male SMAs that make it so that you're not going to break it. If you're careful. You're muted too, Chris, by the way.
Chris is on the phone right now.
So
Ted, you're muted, Chris. Oh, he's on the phone.
Yeah.
So Ted, what kind of
Let me get back in a second, guys. I just got to take this call real quick.
I'm curious what experiments or measurements Ted has made with his unit.
It just arrived today, so I've only made
I've only made a few dozen measurements and several printouts already. So hey, I got a little bit of data in already.
So which are you using? The Nano VNA Saver? Is that what you're using?
Yes. Yeah, I've installed that. Yep.
That's pretty.
I was
that's
very
pretty
impressed
cool.
with it. Yeah, I was very impressed with it.
It's for free. That's just unbelievable. It
Yes,
really is.
I agree. It is. It's a wonderful time to be in ham radio.
I know it is. Ted, I think you should join our club and become one of our presenters. You guys, Ted's a sleeper source. The dude knows stuff.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, he does.
Uh-oh.
So anyways,
I have been experimenting with in-fed half waves, balance, and chokes recently. So that's why I wanted to get the Nano VNA. I'm like I'm sweeping things with the MFJ is I mean it works, but it's just tiresome.
Yeah. You mean like this?
Yep.
Yeah.
We built all mine are installed right now, so I can't hold one up and show you what I've been working on.
These are the one. This is the 1-to-1 current balun that we've been making and experiment. It's really fun because a lot of we did 2 weeks ago. We did a magic balun video. I think it was on a Thursday night for the club. And we did the matter of fact, because I'm such a pig, I still have the ugly balun that I whipped up, and I used gaffing tape. We measured that. And if those of you who didn't get to see it, a little bit nicer ugly balun. And then we did a not so ugly balun that actually kind of works. But what we did is we characterized all of them until we got up to the commercial one, which we found out this guy here for the money is really pretty dang good. It's MFJ. And then we got to the hand wound one we built, and this was had the best performance of them all. But you just can't do that kind of stuff and know what you're really getting into without some kind of test equipment. And the Nano VNA and the actually the Nano VNA and another one I really like is the Rig Expert. Those guys hit a home run. That thing is just awesome. But it's more money. It's more money.
I think to your point, the ruggedness of the Rig Expert is very good, and it does the one thing you care about in the field, which is my SWR, right? I mean, that's the thing you care about in the field. But on the bench, the Nano VNA is going to win out.
The Nano VNA is a 2-port device, so just so you know, this will be our little secret for us and the 40 people watching. It's not S11 or S21.
No,
it's S11 or S21, and the S21 is the 2-port, so you can have energy go out one port and come back in the other port, so you can make a through measurement, so you can actually look at filters, which you can't do that with the Rig Expert.
Yeah,
but you can with this. But the Rig Expert, in all fairness, that dude from I guess it's 100 kilohertz to, which I don't remember the low end, but it's very low, up to 600 megahertz is the one that I have, and it has a real in connector, a real metal plate, and a real graphical interface right there in your hand that you can actually read, and it still plugs into your computer. Matter of fact, we did that at the club one time, but you still, I would say that one that Ted's showing you right now is for, what'd you say it was, $99?
Yes, it's just under 100, I think.
That is worth it. Metal box, built-in lithium-ion battery. Did it come with the? Does that one come with the USB cable to hook it up to stuff?
Yeah, it comes with the USB. It comes with female to female SMA, a male to male SMA, and then the 3 shorting load and open connectors. And it does come with one little foot-long pigtail, but it only comes with one. So,
okay.
Yeah, it's got everything to kind of get started, but you definitely want to add a cable or two, as you were saying.
Is the USB cable, is it mini to mini or mini to A?
It's a standard to USB-C in this case.
Oh, it is.
Yeah,
dude. Mine came with, it was a mini to mini. I'm like, really? So I dug around and I had to find a standard one and got an extension because, of course, the computer is six feet over there. But anyways, cool.
That one come with a guitar pick. That's an important feature.
Yeah,
no,
it does.
This one I got did not, but I'm gonna have to go find a source for guitar picks now. Apparently,
Chris, I'd give you a guitar pick if you really.
You know what? Thanks. You should send that Nano VNA to us, Ted, because it's obviously no good.
Oh, okay.
It has no guitar pick.
That's good to know. El Presidente has spoken.
Yeah, there's no guitar pick. Yeah.
Hey guys, I wanted to cut out of here. It's getting late, and I got back to work tomorrow after enjoying some time off. So, it's been a good, really good video, good presentation by everybody, and got a lot of good options out there for mobile rigs. So, gonna go think about stuff. And Jason, I know you got some more homework to do as well. And but I'm gonna say 88s and 73s, and we'll chat later.
Thanks for keeping our digital world spinning, Mike.
See you, Mike. Nice reset tonight.
Yeah. See you later, dude.
Thanks, guys.
I got a question on the Nano VNA. Since it doesn't come with a lot of instructions or anything like that, how long does it take to charge, or even how long will the battery last?
My experience is when I opened it up, the battery showed that it had two bars, and I hooked it up to the USB port, and within just less than a half hour, it said 100%. I have not used mine on the battery long enough to know how long it lasts, so I don't have a good answer for that question.
It probably also depends on what you're doing. You know, if you're constantly activating the display, it's going to change the battery draw and stuff. But my guess, mine, and they all have different milliamp hour batteries in them. Some of them have 350. Yeah. Some of them have. Yeah. Mine has a 650 in it, and my guess would be I'm probably good for 4 or 5 hours straight before it would have to be charged. Definitely long enough for you to test whatever you needed to test if you were portable.
Yeah, I'm looking. That's what I was doing. So in the garage or whatever, I was like playing with that little 20-meter dipole that I had, and I just like, it was all coiled up and everything. I just like, let me see how it looks, and it was like 1.03 or whatever it was. And I was like, oh, this works great.
Yep. KN6VNQ, Brian with an I. I called you out on the repeater tonight, and you weren't there. You let me down.
His girlfriend came over.
Answer. So, what mobile rig are you running in your truck? Not your fancy HF backpack rig, but just your VHF rig in your truck?
Yeah, I tried checking in, but I had my radio on Simplex before, and I had changed it back, but I forgot to put on the offset, so I couldn't check in. And then once I did that, everyone had a quick.
None of us have ever done that before.
No, never.
Never had that happen.
I tried coming in, but everyone else has a trigger finger. Because most of us are from 3.3, so. I do have the 7250 that Jason was looking at, and I love it personally. It's actually pretty small. It's not a big radio at all. It's got a tiny little fan on the back. It's probably not a good idea that I draw 50 watts from my cigarette lighter.
Whoa.
I should probably turn that down, but I want to hardwire it to my car battery eventually, because that plug either way is just a piece of junk. But overall, I have it hooked up to a little Nagoya UT72. It's a little maybe 17, 18-inch width mag mount. I do wish that the rig was dual VFO.
Yeah.
That's the one thing that I wish it had. It's VHF, UHF. You can monitor 220 if you wanted to.
It has airband too, AM airband.
It does.
How loud is that speaker?
It's pretty loud once you turn it all the way up. My truck makes a lot of noise. I think it's just my wheel bearing for some reason. Probably need to get it looked at eventually one of these days. But
a year.
Is that the one you're showing on YouTube right now, Jason?
Yeah, correct.
And what's the model? Can you show the model again?
Yeah, let me get back to that. So this is the FTM 7250, and it's $219. So the price is very attractive. If I'm gonna mount it on my dash, the speaker would fire right at me, so I don't got to think about an external speaker. And like Brian said, the only thing it doesn't do is give you the ability to listen to two things at once. Now, can you do a scan, Brian, like a priority scan, I'm guessing?
Yeah, you can. For sure, yeah. You just press and hold the up or down button on the handheld mic.
Hey, Jason,
Yeah.
the fix to that is buy two of them.
Great minds think alike, Kevin. Why have one radio when you can have two?
That's right.
I agree with you, Jason and Brian. The ability to dual monitor and be able to transmit on either side at the same time is super important. Like, just from me having the luxury of being able to do that, I've been in a situation where my home station wasn't capable of doing that, and my mobile rig was, and it's frustrating because I'm constantly doing 17 things at one time. So if I don't have that ability, I lose it.
Yeah, I hear you, and that is a big thing to think about. The other thing, I was talking to some people here in the chat. Will Crowden, I don't know his call, but he's been very helpful in the chat. The other thing I didn't realize is the FTM 400, which is, I think, pretty much the top contender for me. But the microphone has to plug into the radio's body, not the head.
Oh, okay.
Same with the 5100 from ICOM. I had to buy an extension. We're hooking that up.
Okay. And he also...
That is kind of a con. That's
Yeah.
a con, in my opinion.
We can
Hey,
make...
Jason,
Yeah.
are you familiar with a guy up in Auburn, K6UDA, Bob?
Yeah, Bob.
Okay, he's got the Jeep. He's got an FTM 400 mounted in it, plus the 11 meter. If you haven't checked a couple of his videos, he's got everything mounted in there. In his Jeep, he's got antennas mounted. So you might want to check that out.
Okay, yeah, heck yeah. Now, okay, Will here in the chat said it does have dual watch. What? Did you know that, Brian? The 7250?
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so that's similar to what like the 2980 does, right? A dual watch. It's not dual band.
Right.
Yeah, you can set it up for dual watch.
You can't. It most likely won't listen to two different bands at the same time, but it will look at them. And if something's on one, it'll come up. Something's on the other one, it'll come up. Is that right, Chris?
Yeah, it's like a fancy scan of two stations.
Yeah,
and
it's
really
super
fast.
it's super
keeps track of
fast.
both. Yep.
Jason, if you buy a FTM 400, I will.
You already have one.
Okay, fine. If
It's
you buy an
interesting, Jason, that I mean, I'll just throw this out because we're on YouTube and people are probably wondering, like, isn't the 300 out now, which is actually the successor to the 400?
It's not a successor. It is out, but I feel like it's really high because it's so new.
What about that ICOM that you showed earlier? It's a dual band, dual watch. I can't. It's not crazy amount of money. Dave K6EIC, he bought one and then he got rid of the vehicle and he sold it to another guy named Chris. I can't remember what the model number is, but that thing was a nice looking and nice sounding radio. And it wasn't as much. It didn't have all the bells and whistles, no digital modes or anything, but it was a great dual band, dual watch radio for the money. I think it was. I think he bought it for $220, $239, something like that.
So, are you talking about the 2730?
Is that? I'm looking to see if it's up on the screen. It might be.
Does Yaesu still make the 8900, Jason?
No.
Well, I know that TYT does like a copy of it. I mean, almost identical radio. I'm sure that it's just a Chinese replica of the 8900, but I want to say it's like the TYT 8900 or something like that. or 8800.
Have a good evening, and
yeah, I know what you're saying, but what's the gentleman? He's in Discord quite a bit. He's having trouble with his Simon.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You know, I would think that digital would be a mode that you're not too worried about in this rig. Is digital something you think you're actually, unless you're near a repeater or something, or you're gonna, Wi-Fi it or whatever, you think?
That's it. That's it, Jason.
I'm not sure. Anyway.
Yeah.
That's it. The 2730A. I'm almost positive. Looks like with the rebate, they're $256.
Yep.
That's a nice sounding radio.
I mean, that's the 5100 without the D-Star, right? Essentially. I mean, it's pretty cool.
I think you're right. The other Brian, I think, with an I there. I think I got it right. Mitch, he's brought out the cigarette lighter plug. You have to give us one of your guitars for doing that, by the way. But other because it's illegal. Other than that, I thought it would be a great experiment to do on one of the nights. Is we literally set up a couple radios with a stable power source, like a gargantuan 70 amp power supply that just can't drop in voltage, and we show people you're on low power, medium power, high power, and I used this wire, and literally we could go get like some number 12 wire, go to the cigarette lighter plug, go to the cigarette lighter plug through the cable, and then we'll put the Fluke meter on there and push the button and go, and have a watt meter right on the output and go, here you go, here your 50 watt radio now puts out, oh look, 32 watts or whatever. I'm making that up. I don't know what it is, and then you flip it over and you go, this is a proper way, and you run the number 12 or number 10 wire back to the battery and blah, blah, blah. And you push the button and you go, oh, wow. 10 feet of that stuff gives me an extra 10 watts on my transmit. And also,
it won't get hot and catch fire.
Oh, okay, Ted, that's a plus. Not burning your vehicle down is a plus. Another thing too is a plus is you don't get as much. You typically, this is not always, but you typically don't get as much engine noise on transmit and sometimes receive.
I took one of those iron links that you thread into a chain, and I wrapped a whole bunch of like 8 or 10 gauge wire around that, and put some Anderson power poles on that, and basically made an iron core choke, and it killed all the ignition noise. It cost nothing. I just had that laying around.
That would be interesting. Now that you got your Nano VNA, is to just take like two or three windings of the same wire and sweep your iron chain link, and then sweep like a grab, like a type 31 or 240 or, something like, stuff we get, and see, which one. I mean, you might have hit on something. A old iron chain link from a ship might be better.
Well, for the lower frequency of noise that you get from an ignition system in a car, that's just ripple on the DC, that killed it. It handled it just fine. But yeah, for HF, for any RF application, you definitely want to use the Type 31 core.
That's what I meant. I was about the noise. Yeah, because sometimes we grab these things and they don't do diddly.
Yeah. Well, in this, I don't know. I probably have 30 or 40 windings on it. I mean, it's an ugly looking thing, that I hid under the seat, but it does its job, and that's what we needed.
Yep.
Hey, Brian, if you ever want a hand wiring that up, you just let us know. Bobby Lee, I can call in a favor with him. He's a really slick with, in-car wiring, doing it real neat, and he'd be happy to help you. I know that. So if you ever want to call us, feel free.
I think tomorrow, I got nothing better to do. I might just hardwire it to my battery. I got the cable to do it, and I just used the same way that I ran the coax cable through my antenna, because I have it, rather than sitting on top of my truck, I put my antenna on the opposite side of where my music radio antenna is, just so I can have it match a little bit. Plus it's short, and I just have it kind of running through the hood. On receive, with the cigarette lighter, I definitely do get some crackling noises. So I think I'm past due for finally crimping on the stuff to my cables and hardwiring it and whatnot. So
And just remember, use a grommet or something similar, so when you go through the metal firewall, you don't have the possibility of it chafing or cutting the wire, and always put a fuse as close to the battery as possible, inches. And thank you, Brian Edwards, for the super chat. Hugely appreciated, as I'm saving for a radio.
Oh, super chat.
Hey, I would take Jason's recommendation, which is 100% accurate, just one step further. Fuse the positive, obviously, but also fuse the negative. Make no question whatsoever that if there's any electricity going anywhere. Why would you do that?
Why would you do that, Ted?
Let's say through some act of somebody doing the wrong thing, they drop the positive 12-volt lead onto your antenna, and that finds a better path through the chassis ground than it finds to the positive on the battery. And that fuse on the negative will save you.
And that's the super. You know what else happens, and has happened. So your battery is mounted in your vehicle, and there's a wire that runs between the negative on your battery to the down there to the heavy one, the block, and there's one that goes to your
starter.
To the no, I meant the starter, and then there's the other one that goes to your chassis.
Yeah.
So now you like me, I like to drill holes in vehicles. You know, John and I. She might help. KF6 don't quite understand. Anyways. We like to drill holes and stuff. So if you take your radio and you drill a hole and with an M&O mount, your antenna is grounded, and it runs back to your radio, and then you run your radio. Your radio's kind of floating there on its little bracket. And then you run your plus and minus lead back. You hook them up, and you don't ground your fuse. Well, if you run it right to the battery, and the one of those two connections from the negative goes bad, and then you try to start your car or run something without current, just like Ted said, it goes to the path of least resistance. Well, what if that's your radio? So you want your negative lead fuse to protect yourself. Now, if you have a magnetic mount antenna, the likelihood of that happening is probably slim and none. But a lot of us drill holes and put it in there. So unless you're now, in my case, I do everything wrong. So I have a separate. I didn't put a fuse in mine, but then again, mine goes. Actually, I do. The fuse is in the stock wiring harness that came with the radio. I forgot.
Yeah, some do. Hey Ted, there's a question in the chat. Where did you get your VNA?
I'm getting the link from Amazon right now.
Oh, great!
I
you
got
saw
it on
that.
Amazon.
Awesome.
But yeah, I'll post that link. Yep.
It might try to block you, but we can make sure it goes in there. Sometimes.
Well, and I would also, on the subject of fusing, for 2-meter mag mounts, maybe you're not going to drill too many holes. But as soon as you start doing HF, you're going to have your positive lead on your antenna sticking out of your car somewhere, right?
Yeah.
And one car wreck, one little piece of stray metal, any little thing. And in my case, I've got an 11-meter whip on top of a coil. That thing whaps around and hits the car sometimes when you're going under a tree. So there's lots of opportunities for things to go sideways.
Right. I think, I'm not sure. I'll have to pull out the box and look at the cable, but I think, because I plan on using the stock wiring that Yaesu gives to you, I think it's already fused. Granted, it is 50 watts output. I know my 891, my HF rig, came with fuses, and that's the one that I use. But I'm hoping the stock cables came with fuses. If not, that's going to be interesting to.
They'll be in there.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, my Yaesu's got them.
All right, I'll pull out the box and.
What you really should do is put a giant lithium-ion battery on the floor of your passenger seat. Okay, hook your radio directly to it with the shortest wire you can, and then take that with a battery isolator and hook it up to the rest of your vehicle, and drill holes in the roof. the chicks love it. I'm just telling
I have a question though, just a question, because since we're doing this redneck, just a simple question: should you or should you not seatbelt the battery into the car?
That's a very good question, Ted. And what I found is my wife doesn't like it when the battery is in the same seat she's in.
Well, that's understandable.
So I put it on.
But it makes her sit closer to you.
I put. Yeah, that's not working out. And so I put it on the floor, and then you just strap it with bungee cords and number 10 screws to the floor. Yeah.
You don't want to make it too hard to get to because Kevin doesn't recharge batteries. He just replaces them. He takes them out and they run down, and he gets new batteries.
I actually, after that, I have had my battery maintenance battery maintenance charger set up on all 4 of my batteries, and I have the same battery, right? It's down there. I was using it to test. I was going to show a picture. And I'll do that in a minute, and I'll do this for Nick's the benefit. But I did charge all those batteries, Chris. I learned my lesson.
See?
Wow.
A battery can be a gift that keeps on giving. You know, that one Jason gave you, it wasn't just for one-time use.
Yeah, I know. We're out there using it on field day. We're making some pretty cool contacts, like at 11 o'clock at night. I had my dash mounted. Oh, here comes Jason. There it is. That's okay, guys. Brian, Ted, that's how you do it.
You know, and I know this is all in jest, but in all seriousness, I've been rear-ended about 3 times in my life. I've been upside down in 2 different vehicles. You don't want things flying around inside the vehicle. You just don't.
You don't.
Well, that's why there's bungee cords.
That's why Kevin, it's hard to see, but Kevin's going 30 right now. He's going slow.
Yeah.
With all those wires in there, his wife couldn't sit in the front seat with him.
Hey, keep her feet warm.
Lots of room.
Yeah, let me see. Okay.
There's probably a treadmill under there, so she can keep it charged for you.
What's that?
There you go.
What is this?
It's the tank.
I don't know. Power supply.
No.
It's the rack. The in-vehicle rack.
Can you shine a light on it, or do we have to look at it in the dark?
No. Hold on.
An 8-track. It's an 8-track tape.
Almost.
Man months.
It's a dummy load. Look what he's going to do.
Is this the Blair Witch Project?
That's his very first hand.
Oh, I know what that might be. That might be an amplifier outside of its chassis. Yes, it is. Look at that shiny front end, Nick.
That's really nice. Can you shine a flashlight on it so we can see it?
Well, yeah, I don't even have a flashlight, but I have these.
Here, I'll shine a flashlight on it for you. Here we go.
Thank you.
There we go.
Thank you.
We have these.
Or light a candle.
Yeah. We have these.
Oh yeah, look at those nice bad boys.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
I have them the wrong. Yeah, 2 of these. I think one of them's bad.
What is your wife going to do without her microwave since you took the tubes out of it?
Well, she's using the rotisserie grill right now.
Kevin, are those the tubes that were in there? You think one might be bad?
Yeah, there's more wrong with it. Just I won't go into gory detail because I haven't figured it out all. That amp, in my humble yet probably accurate opinion, didn't work before it got to your house.
You don't think it was just the impact? You think it was more?
No.
Wow.
Because it was the band select switch, the 3-layer waiver switch was corroded, and if you turn it, just touch it, it makes connection, and sometimes it doesn't. The dent was next to the power transformer, which there was nothing there to hurt it. And then on top, somebody had been in there because when I pulled this plate here off, this plate has literally 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, like 16, 18 screws in it. Well, I have for the whole thing, including the feet, I have 6 screws, including the lid. So this thing was taken apart, and inside of it, the plate, the tank circuit. There's a coil in there that 80 meters, 40 meters, 20 meters, 15, and 10. It's hanging there by its wires with one screw and stud gone. The stud's still hanging on by just a hair. The screw is completely gone. It's not inside the chassis. I looked, and the other screw is loose. And somebody, they're lucky at the moment, the high voltage supply is working, but it's going to need a little TLC.
If you need some tubes, I got 2 here that I could.
Well, we might want to check it out. I got to make sure right now it's something else is shorted in it, because it might be the tube. I just checked it just real quickly, but yeah, that thing didn't work before they shipped it. First of all, they should never ever ship your linear amplifier with tubes in it. So if you're selling a linear amplifier, ladies and gentlemen, pull the tubes out, wrap them in some tissue paper, and then put that inside some foam and protect it and ship them. You can be in the same box, but in a separate box with the other, and then wrap your amplifier, because if it worked before he shipped it, bashing that thing around, those tubes, it's very easily to short one out.
Yeah. So, at a minimum, I mean, and it's not bad practice to consider taking the transformer out either.
Well, I've never had to do that. You just wrap the bejeebers out of the unit in some bubble wrap. I mean, I've bought several amplifiers and they've come in good condition. And I've had a couple things that have come, the shipping company dropped it, messed it up. So this thing's got some stuff. We're going to look and see if we want to maybe consider putting a new high voltage power supply board in there with the new caps, because the caps are in it. When you look at the top of the capacitors.
Yeah, that was interesting.
They all look kind of
two out of the 4 there looked really, really. Yeah.
And they're working.
There's a company that sells
Harbach.
Yeah, they sell that kit, right?
Yep, I think he still does. I hope he does. He's the guy that owns that company, or part of it. Is who I bought my spectrum analyzer from. Those guys are great.
I should probably take a look here. I may have one of those kits.
Oh man, that would be helpful.
Fact,
I gotta check. I gotta make sure the switch is okay, and I gotta make sure that the input, the resonant input filters, none of those coils are cracked.
I'm 87% sure I got the high voltage kit here.
Man, that would be cool. It'll just make it more better.
Yep, I'll dig it up and we'll get it up to you, Kevin.
Okay. Don't. Well, I'm working on it, Nick, but don't hold your breath. It's going to be another week or so. I've been pretty busy, but I'm trying to get it fixed.
I got all the time in the world.
That's a cool little amp, dude. I watched a YouTube video of a guy that just fixed one. He fixed that, and he fixed a Big Brother amp that has a pair of 3-500s for some CB guy. He has a 12-watt output radio driving the SB201, driving the other one. I guess it's a SB220, the big one, and he tweaked everything out. So the guy gets 2,000-watt peaks on 11 meters.
You talking about Sir Mix-a-Lot again?
Sir Mix-a-Lot.
That guy popped up on the YouTube the other day. There were other people were talking about.
We need to get Sir Mix-a-Lot in here.
We need to bring him on.
All right. Speaking of projects, I know Nick is like me. We're dying to know if Bert plugged in that transceiver yet.
Oh, I did try plugging.
How'd it go?
Nothing. The front of it didn't light up. The panels didn't light up. But I turned on the heater and I saw that the tubes started glowing. I was like, okay, at least the tubes are working, right? But I don't think I got anything really. And then the selector switch for like the upper sideband, lower sideband, that switch right there was just like crackling as I was like moving it around. But
what did you get, Bert?
The FT-101.
Ooh.
Yeah. Remember the one I got from Chris at Field Day? So yeah, I still gotta come by and see you about it.
Well, those are cool. I had one of those for a long time. They work good.
It might be the same one.
Well, if the pre-selector has a little bent shaft, yeah, it's the one I had. But those get bent all the time.
I'm pretty sure it's not. This one's got about 40 years of cigarette smoke coating all the components.
Oh, okay. Well, that wasn't
gross. I'm gonna head out here pretty quick, y'all. So it looks like Ryan has something to say about something he's holding.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap this up here in a few 9:30.
Yeah, Ryan should say something.
So I pulled out.
Okay, that's enough. Anyways, I'm sorry.
Jeez. Go ahead,
man.
Ryan.
We can't hear you, Ryan. You're on mute or something.
Or something got unplugged, maybe. Heard you for a moment, and then it kind of went silent.
Nothing.
Nothing
Yeah,
heard.
really
Yeah,
loud.
we heard you for a second.
Yeah. Oh, he's fixing it. He's fixing it. There he is. He's coming back.
He's gonna start tapping out some Morse code.
Yeah.
I know.
Minus 3 M points.
He puts us all to shame with Morse code. My wife is telling the story. Yeah, this young man came in there. He blew those old guys away. I'm like, yeah, he did.
If he doesn't know how to hook his computer up to Zoom.
Oh, fighting words. Fighting words.
Yeah.
I thought you were smart, Ryan.
He is.
All right. Well, so
Like
you're.
audio.
Can you unmute him, Jason?
Yeah,
He's
I
unmuted.
just hit it.
There it is.
Yeah, but
I'm not seeing
not
any
picking
input.
up.
It might have
not
grabbed a
picking up.
different.
Getting closer to the microphone doesn't help.
It might have picked a different input.
Yeah, check your inputs. The little caret right next to the microphone. Oh, he dropped off. Never mind.
Oh, he left.
All right. It's getting late.
Gonna reset.
Well, he's probably gonna come back in. I don't want to hang it up just yet. Let's just see if he comes back.
You know what?
in.
I'll leave it. It'll just be you, Jason.
Where'd everybody go?
That's mean.
Oh, poor kid.
Yeah.
Hey,
See,
you know
he's
what?
here
That's,
again.
That's me most of the time. I can't get this stuff. I mean,
Hey,
good
Kevin, just
grief.
because you were picked on as a kid doesn't mean you got to pick on kids now.
Hey, how many viewers did we end up seeing on YouTube? I thought I saw it up around. Oh, there he
There
is.
he is.
I saw 60 people.
All right, Ryan, do it.
Oh, you went away. Your voice was there
died
for like
again.
2 seconds.
It died again.
Oh, Ryan.
The dude has something cool to show us too.
Yeah. Can you just show us? Just
Can
put
you
it up in
show
front of
us?
the camera.
Unplug
Maybe we
your
can-
unplug
Maybe
your
we can guess what
microphone.
it is.
I'll do the audio for it, Ryan.
Just put it up in front of the camera so we
All
can
right,
see it.
somebody play the Jeopardy theme. Let's start with that.
Dun, 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 dun.
That was anticlimactic. That was a great rendition, Chris.
Pretty good for a guy who's tone deaf, right?
So Ted, are you here in Solano County with us?
No, I live up in Placer County.
Okay.
I live right now in Meadow Vista, which is above Auburn on the I-80 corridor, if you know where that is. Hello, Ryan.
There he is.
All right. Number 3.
Okay, go ahead, Ryan.
Boy, he's technology challenged tonight.
No.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear
There
you.
we go.
There you
Yeah.
are.
There we go.
There
I
it
pulled
is.
out this thing.
That works.
So I pulled out this.
Yep. Rabbit ear center.
And there's a resistor inside of it. And what I think I read about this, and what the resistor is supposed to do is it's supposed to blank out static. It's 100 kilo ohm, and it's supposed to blank out static. So that's what they say it's supposed to do. The resistor and
So is that the one that you were analyzing?
yes. I don't know if I should remove the resistor or not. I don't know what it will do with it.
It's such a high impedance, Ryan, and you're using it on your HT, right?
So I was, and then so I set this up today outside, and then I hooked up my Nano VNA to it, and it read. So I put on that like 81 million ohm extension cable on it, and it read. I think it read like 4.1 to 1, and so then I cut it down. I cut it down to the cable that was on here, and it gave me 1.13 to 1.
Well, did you adjust the length of those rabbit ears?
I measured the whole thing.
Okay. You know, you could make your own dipole. Just get a piece of something insulated, like a piece of PVC pipe or something, and some stiff copper wire, and make each piece in the neighborhood of 19.5 inches, and then feed it with just a piece of coax, and one on the shield and one on the center, and hook it to your Nano VNA and tune it, and you will have a half wave dipole.
Well, I'm working on building the 2-meter tape measure Yagi.
Oh, cool.
We still have to get the coax.
Cool. You just need some parts. Trouble is, you live on the other side of the bridge, don't you? Like
Yeah.
Concord area somewhere, or Danville,
Somewhere around there.
somewhere in there. Yeah, we
Yeah.
get somebody close. Chris will get it for you.
Yeah, we can. If you guys have any trouble getting it, I'm sure.
There's a few
Yeah.
people in that area near him.
Yeah, we get some stuff. Plus, he's
And then-
pretty close to.
There's there's this thing on here,
Yeah.
which I also read about this. This is supposed to be a ferrite choke.
Yeah. That's a good thing.
Your nano VNA can measure all that, Ryan.
I know.
So you could play with it, and then
It,
teach
like-
us how to use it. Cool. Well, guys, I'm gonna jet. It's 9:30. It's been
Yeah,
great. It's
I got to
been
roll
fun.
too.
We still got 36 people that just couldn't get enough of us, and
Yeah.
I'm amazed that we had that many people. So thank you for watching tonight. I'm gonna get out of here. So
I like the new Fix It Fiore cap. That's
It's awesome.
There you go.
And Ted, are you gonna come back? Ted, you gonna be a regular?
I have lurked a fair amount. I wouldn't mind being a regular, but I have some family commitments on Wednesday nights that often pull me away. So if I'm
Well,
available, yes, but I can't guarantee it.
And we do the once every second Thursday of the month. We do it too.
Yeah.
But just get on the repeater. Get your priorities straight, man. Come on.
There you go.
Here we go. All right, guys. Hey, thanks a lot. It was really fun.
Yeah, great job. Thank you, Jason and Nick, for all you do as well.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Great to have everyone and everyone in the chat. We'll be back next week. Lots of stuff going on. Stay tuned. I'll have to let everyone know. I'm probably a week or two away from buying the radio. I'm really liking that 7250. It's just the price is, it's hard to argue with $220, for the Jeep. And one day when I'm a big timer, maybe I'll get that 400 or 300.
And repeat.
Yeah, but am I going to use it that much,
You will. You will have you will be parking your Jeep.
You'll park. You'll be hiking all around.
hiking.
Yeah, but thing about it is when I do the Jeep thing right now, it's more of a family, so I want to have the ability to communicate and talk and scan and priority scan, but how much radio am I going to be doing?
A lot when you get your GMRS radios set up so your family can talk to you too.
All of it. All the radio.
Because I still need to buy a CB radio.
Yeah. Well, that CB radio we're talking about is like one of them's $169 and the other one is like $229.
some of them are a little expensive in my book.
Yeah.
Talk about getting your priorities straight, Jason. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Hey, you could mod your 991. It'll do 11 meters.
Yeah, mount that to the dash.
How many memory channels does they have? 99. Well, 40 of them will be for 11 meters.
You can't possibly drive around in a rig with one antenna for starters. You need, at least two.
Oh yeah,
at least two antennas.
You need
This
multiple
is a beginner
half-wave antennas. I'm out of here, guys. You guys have a wonderful night. We'll
I
chat
gotta
with
go
you later.
too.
All right, guys.
Bye-bye.
We'll continue this later.
Good evening.
See you guys
Bye.
later. Good
88,
night.
so
73.
Yes.
All right, guys.